So hello everyone. Welcome to AWS User Group Nashik. And before getting started, we just wanted to apologize for the inconvenience caused in the today's stream in the morning. So we are rescheduling it at 4 p.m. Saturday, and the same content you'll be seeing on the premiere on the YouTube and the same AWS User Group Nashik channel. Uh, so we'll be restarting the stream, and if you have any questions as session proceeds, you can directly ask into the comments in the YouTube. We'll get addressed, and our speaker will be more than happy to help you on the YouTube chat. We'll be monitoring that. Along with it, while getting started, in the if you feel there is any problem with the video as well, so you can comment that as well in the YouTube. We'll try to take care of that as well. So without any further ado, we'll try to get started. And today we have Yash with us. Yash, we'll start with your introduction, and we'll get started slightly after that.
Hey, hi everyone. Thank you so much, Abhishek. So, hi, my name is Yash Karande, and I'm currently associated with Antata India. And I like to work on uh, so the my preferred backend technologies are PHP, Node, and Django. And then I like to work on Angular and React for the front ends. And I have a preferred stack, we can say cloud as AWS and GCP. So that's it. For can say my personal introduction, and for today we'll be seeing how do we build full stack serverless application with help of AWS. And the basic agenda is to create a full stack application. So there will be a backend and there will be a front end. So the front end will be built with React, and the backend we are going to use three services from AWS. So they are the Lambda, which that we'll be using Lambda to write our business logic. And then with respect to API gateway, so this will be a mediator between our you can say the front end and the Lambda. And for database, we'll be using DynamoDB. And we'll also be seeing a bit about serverless framework, so how that helps us to deploy and manage our resources on AWS. And we'll directly start with the practical session of we can say the crude application that we have. Okay. So okay, Abhishek. So once you are ready with that, I'll get started.
Okay, cool. That's cool. And I hope our audience will also love the session, and all of the news technologies like serverless, Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB. They'll get to learn more about that from the scratch. And as yes mentioned, this will be a two-part series. So in the first part, we'll be seeing from the design from scratch, like how to design the application, and to the front end and get it working. So it will be a very great experience to learn. So without any further delay, so we'll get started. And over to you. Yes, the stage is all yours. You can get started with the session.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Abhishek. So we'll get started now. So as already mentioned, so today's agenda. So firstly, we'll be seeing a basic overview of the application that we'll be building. Then we'll be seeing the high-level design. Then we'll just go through the theoretical part of the services that we'll be using in our today's application. And then a theoretical bits about the serverless framework, and how it works and how it will be helping us to deploy our applications without much hassle. And then we'll be starting to build the application. So first one, with respect to the overview and a high level design. So for front end, we'll be using React, and for back end, we'll be using Lambda functions. Under that, we'll be writing our main business logic. And then with the help of API gateway, that will be a mediator, and it will be handling our API calls from the front end, and serving them. For the backend, for the database, we'll be using DynamoDB. So if you are able to see the diagram below, we have the front end over here, the to-dos app. And in between, we have the API gateway. Then we have the lambdas, multiple functions, for post, put, or get, for the required, you can say crude CRUD operations, and like for the database we'll be using DynamoDB. And then we will be now seeing what are the services that we'll be using. We'll just go through the basic overview of that. So AWS Lambda, so that is basically a servicing, you can say, serverless computing service. You just the main motto of this service is like you just write the code, or like you just write the business logic, and you don't have to worry about the server configuration, or like how do we deploy it even, or like everything. So the environment and everything is already set up for you. You just have to write the you can say core logic of your application. So AWS supports multiple, you can say, runtimes and languages. So currently, majorly the Node.js and the Python is majorly used. So you can choose with them, or there are multiple languages too. So you can choose from them as well. Then later on, we have we can say great feature that AWS provides, that you don't have to manually go ahead and manage the we can say traffic and everything. So consider you have a high traffic, and you don't have to manually go ahead and add more instances or everything, or add more we can say memory to that your Lambda function to handle all of the traffic. That will be done automatically with respect to how you have configured your application. So and it has of course has a seamless integration with all the other products. So consider you have you have a use case where you have to put a few things on maybe S3 bucket or something like that. So you just have to you utilize the AWS SDK. There's a whole package, and inside the AWS SDK you have multiple services, and all of their basic functions and everything. So everything is there. You just have to import that, and just start using it. And a few key points regarding that. So we have the memory set up starting from 128 megabytes to 3000 megabytes that you can configure. The maximum execution time is 15 minutes. If you start the executing the Lambda, your Lambda, so that will run till 15 minutes, or 900 seconds. And the maximum code package that you can put it on your you can say on your Lambda is 250 megabytes. That will be the maximum package of your project, we can say. And then the concurrent request for each account, for each region, that will be 1000, around 1000. And the payload size that you can have is around 10 megabytes. So that will be your body, or the post request or post request, anything. So the data you will be sending will be around 10 megabytes. So the second service that we'll be seeing is API gateway. So this is this acts as a mediator between your, we can say, your backend and the front end. So all the APIs that you will be building will be listed under this service. And you can easily create or manage or your deploy your endpoints as required. So they are HTTP based, they use HTTP protocol, and you can write your REST APIs or WebSocket APIs both. So you have that flexibility over there. You will also be able to build, we can say, live chat applications, or live streaming applications with the help of this. So I all the underlay we can say business logic will be that you will be writing will use these endpoints and serve their purpose. And then we also have authorization and authentication on one click of our you can say on one click of our mouse. So you just have to go inside your AWS dashboard, and just after a few clicks we'll be able to directly add the authentication or authorization based on the roles that you have. And the key points for we can say the API gateway are we have around 600 APIs, the limit of 600 APIs per account, can say per region per account. And then the maximum timeout, we can say the API, you can say that this single API will be live for around 29 to 30 seconds. So that's the thing. And the maximum payload size will be around 10 megabytes. Now, the third service that we'll be looking is DynamoDB. So this is a NoSQL we can say solution, a database solution from AWS, and it uses a key valued structure as we see in JSON, any type of JSON files and everything. So that in that way we store the data inside our DynamoDB. So this the main name of the while building DynamoDB that was built from AWS. So the main name from there their perspective was to provide a single digit millisecond performance, like it should scale extremely well on under high loads and everything. So they had that perspective in mind, and it has been designed in that way only. So and it also provides all the bells and whistles that we see in all the modern databases that you might want, or you might be using in your application. So that will contain built-in security, backups and restores, and multi-master and slave type of, you can say, paradigm. And then multiple regions and in-memory archiving to fasten your, we can say, read write speed. So we have that. And for the key point for this DynamoDB is it can handle 20 million requests per second, and it can the overall threshold of the whole day, we can say 24 hours, is around 10 trillion requests. And it is of course all the number figures that you have already figured out, that is extremely scalable to have. Okay. So that's all for the services perspective. We have a bit about a serverless framework. So this is like a you can say a web framework that we'll be using to manage and deploy all of our resources, all of our services that we will be writing, and functions and everything that we will be writing in our currency application. You don't have to go in the dashboard of the AWS and click here and there, and then create a resource and then attach it to our, you can say, you consider a lambda that you have to prepare, and then you have to go ahead and attach it manually to the API gateway. So everything will be done automatically with the help of serverless framework. So as you can see here, it is a open source tool that is written in Node.js, and it helps to construct and deploy our applications. Majorly it focuses on serverless applications only. So, and it also provides multiple, we can say, clouds. It including AWS, it also has support for GCP, Kubernetes, and Azure, and DigitalOcean, and all the other you can say popular clouds that we have around. And then we, as already mentioned, we don't have to go inside the cloud provider's dashboard and click here and there and find a particular setting, and you have to go through it and toggle that setting on to do a particular thing. So you just have to write your YAML file and all the configuration inside that YAML file, and just add SLS deploy, and everything will be automatically created, and everything will be automatically we can say configured on that on your cloud. And then it also has an extensive CLI tool. Everything we'll be using that tool continuously today. So you'll be able to see how you can say how we can use that tool. And they also have multiple other services like monitoring. So after deployment, you might have to monitor your we can say production, as how they are doing, to check any logs or any errors. So everything is managed over there. And they also have a secrets manager, so you don't have to explicitly manage everything with respect to your secret passwords and everything. And they also have multiple plugins. So consider you have to you can say minify your Node.js application. So that will be done under plugin. So we have a plugin for that called Webpack. So, and there are numerous other plugins that you'll be able to use them. Okay, so that's it for the AWS service framework. So we will now quickly start with the start to build the application that we have planned. So first of all, let me quickly go through it. So first of all, make sure we have two prerequisites that you will have to do. So make sure your AWS account is properly configured. You have the access ID and secret key properly added. So yeah, fine. I guess it is now properly visible to you. So make sure you have properly configured everything, and make sure you have the serverless you can say the CLI tool running. So we do that by doing npm install -g. So I have already installed it. That will be already present for me. So I'll just quickly cancel this one, and then you will be able to access the serverless CLI tool by typing serverless or SLS. So if you're able to see, we have the CLI tool available here. Now I will just quickly run a command that will create a simple boilerplate for our project, and we'll quickly paste it over here. So we have to edit the project path. Let's say maybe to-do app will give that, and like you are able to see the command. Like you will be able even if you like replace SLS with server, so that also works. So SLS is like a short form for the serverless, you can say, keyword. And then we will have SLS, then create, then like what type of template that we have to use. So we will be using AWS, the cloud provider will be AWS, and like depending on your cloud provider, so that will be GCP or everything, like what we'll be using. And then hyphen Node.js, so that will create a Node.js application. And then for the path, so I am under a folder, so this will create a new directory under this, we can say, this directory. So I'll just quickly give an enter to it. Now it should start like creating the application. So it has created a boilerplate code. We'll just quickly go through there. Like as you're able to see, so we have 3 files over here. So we'll quickly jump into the code, and like let's see what it has built for us. Okay, so we'll start with the serverless.yaml file. I'll just quickly remove a few comments, like they are useless for now. Okay, the function over here, and then we'll remove this too. Okay, so currently we have we'll just quickly go through the serverless.yaml file. So we have the service, like this is the main, you can say, app name that you will be giving. So like all of the deployments and everything will be done under this, you can say, app name. And then the framework, you can say, framework version. So there are like, currently we are like the major version that we have is 2, and like there are a few upcoming, we can say, things. So like the major version is like soon there will be 3, serverless framework 3. So we have the provider over here. The provider will be your cloud provider. The name of the cloud provider is like AWS, and like what runtime we'll be using is Node.js 12. And this lambda hashing version, like this is a, we can say, an optional parameter, but like it is used to, we can say, hash the function names while versioning those each and every lambda that will be deploying. So every time you deploy, there's a new version created, and like it will use a hashing, this hashing algorithm that it has already inside the serverless framework, and like it will be using that to append it to the, we can say, the functions name. And then we have the functions, we can say, functions category. So under that we have the function name. So currently it is hello. I'll just quickly change it to maybe AWS UG NSK and hello. Then I'll just quickly change it here as well. So this is the function name, and like the handler. So this shows like what is the, we can say, points out to the business object where we have written this like function. So our handler will be handler. So this handler is like this JS. So we have the handler.js, and like under that handler.js, what we can say, that method we have. Okay, so under this, I'll just quickly open the, we can say, handler. This is a basic, you can say, a node application, and like nothing like fancy going on in here. So we just have module.exports the function name. So I'll just quickly, you can say, rename that function over here. So this will be pointing to handler dot AWS UG NSK hello. So handler dot AWS UG NSK hello, and like we have the, we can say, all the parameters over here. So I'll just quickly add a few parameters. We'll be explaining like what these parameters do. So we have callback here, and just return the callback as well. And have, so fine. So we have written a basic function where like the, let's say, this function will return a this message, this message, and the like all the, we can say, input and context and everything that we have provided. So what we'll do is like deploy this function once, and like see like how do we call it even. So to deploy, I'll just quickly run SLS deploy, and like it will start deploying the application over there, the AWS account that I have like already configured. So it will use the default one. So currently it is creating all the resources and everything. So what all we have, so what we have here is just a lambda meter. So it will like go ahead and create a lambda function. It will first you can say package this into a zip file. uh, if you are able to see, so here's the zip file, and like inside that zip file we have this handler and like the servers.yaml file. So and like this itself will be deployed to the you can say cloud. Let's wait for it. At the underlying, we can say implementation of this is like it will get this zip file. As you're able to see, it will like upload it to S3, and like from S3 it will be deployed to the actual lambda. So it has updated. Okay, fine. So if you are able to see, we have the function created over here. I'll just quickly go ahead and refresh it. Now if you're able to see, we have the function created under this. Now under the dashboard we are able to see the code and everything. So this is there is like a limit of I guess around 3 megabytes. Like you will be able to see your code, or like else you have to like manage it from your local itself. You won't be able to see this we can say over here. As we have a very small application, we are able to like it's visible over here right now. And then we'll just go ahead and quickly maybe invoke that method. So to invoke it, we'll be using SLS and invoke and the hyphen f for the function. So and like the function name, we'll be appending it over here. Once I click enter, uh, it will like go ahead and call the function that we have just deployed it above. So if you are able to see, we have the status code that we are returning from here, and then we have the body. So the message is present over here. Then we have the context over here, and have we even have the like event over here. So under event, like we'll be soon seeing like what all things will be having under event. Like it contains mostly our you can say post or put request you can say body, and we'll be getting that from directly from the event. And then with respect to context actually, so context, we like if you're able to see, we have like the it has a second parameter. So it contains all the information with respect to the invocation of that method. So it will have like how much of the memory limit that we have provided to that method. So like what will be a group like a log group name. So this log group name we have like under monitor, we will be able to see the logs over under the for this specific we can say lambda. We'll be able to see all the we can say logs under this tab. So like we have just invoked that method, so that's why this log is available now. We'll just quickly open it. Like if you're able to see, like it has the timestamps and everything, and like when it started, and like even if you will be able to console log your, you can say if you want to debug something, you will be able to console log it over here only, and like you'll be able to see all the data over here itself. So, and like the third parameter that we have is callback. So this one is used to basically used to like send a response to the you can say the invoker. Like in our case, it will be our to-do application, like the front end of our to-do application. So we'll be mostly using callback to send out the to-dos and everything back to the you can say front end application. So yeah, like that's it for these three parameters. These are like basically we'll be using these most of the time. So mostly event and callback is are used the most. So yeah, and then now I will just quickly go ahead and okay. So we have one thing remaining actually. So I'll just tell you like how do we attach the API gateway to you can say our API. Uh, so I will just quickly copy a few things. being copy. Okay, handler, we have handler, we have events. Okay, under that we will add an HTTP. You can say, and then under that we have path. So the path that we will be adding under that, and this will be the path of the API gateway, like the URL that will be generated. We just have to append this path, and we'll be able to access this. You can say the AWS method, Lambda method. Okay, then what type of we will provide the what type of method that we'll be using. So we have the get, like this defines your HTTP verb. So you'll be having the method, so you can have it like a post or put, or whatever you'll be needing to have. So we are just going to get that get a few information from here. So we'll just quickly use get, and we'll go ahead and quickly run SLS deploy as well. Yeah, gateway. So this will go ahead and just update the I can say the Lambda method that we have, and go ahead and uh, attach the HTTP, you can say the path to that API, sorry, the Lambda. And once we call that you can say API, that will directly indefinitely call this you can say that handler method, and we'll be getting a response over there. So if you're able to see if the deployment is successful, I'll just quickly copy this endpoint, go in the Postman tool, and just paste it, and will be having send, clicking on this end. So as you are able to see, we have the status response as 200, as we have already defined it under I can say our Lambda method, and under that we have the body. So under the body we have message. So if you're able to see, we have this message over here. Then we have the input. So as I already mentioned, this input is the event that we have, and this everything gets prepared from the API gateway, and gets passed on to the Lambda method. So you will be able to see what resource that we are calling, what is the path of that API, and then the HTTP method that we are using. So we are using get here, so it will be giving the get you can say HTTP verb, and we have all the headers that you will be setting from your, you can say your the front end, or any web client side application that will be invoking your we can say API, and all the headers are present over there, and there are a few configurations that are done by the we can say API gateway. So you'll be able to get those also, and later on we have our body. So we have currently we are not sending anything to it, so it is currently null. So once we are we start sending a few, let's say, parameters to that body. So consider it is a post request, and we are sending a few you can say a to do to insert it inside our we can say DynamoDB. So the to do will be available over here, and then we have the context. So as already mentioned, this will contain all the, I can say the invocation related things inside, and the Lambda related things inside this context. So that is it for our sample API actually. So I'll just quickly go do one thing now. We'll quickly copy a few things, and we'll start working on the creation of a to do. So first of all, I will remove this method from here. So under the functions, I'll be pasting my, actually we have to do one thing. So we'll just quickly go ahead and create a package.json. We have a few packages that we'll be needing. So we have the UUID here. This will be used to create the unique ID for each and every to do. We'll be using that, and under the dev dependency, if you're able to see, we have the AWS SDK. So under this SDK, we are going to use the DynamoDB client. So you have like as already mentioned in the start of the session. So under this SDK, we have multiple services, and like for each and every service, there are multiple actions that you will be using. So consider this like for S3, you'll be, if you want to put an object, so you'll just get the S3 instance of that the S3 class from here, and under this SDK, and like you will be creating calling the put method for that you can say particular class, and like your object will be directly put on that you can say your configured AWS S3 bucket. And like why we have added it in under dev dependencies, because like this is like automatically available inside the lambda runtime. We don't have to like manually go ahead and add it inside the dependency, so that the you can say the runtime will have this package available. So it is available like it is like injected at the runtime only. And okay, so I'll just quickly go ahead and run npm install once. cd to app npm install. It will install all the required packages for our local. Okay, now I will go inside our serverless.yaml, and then we have a instead of so I'll just maybe rename this function only. So we have post to do, and then we just quickly rename it over here. We have the post to do. I'm just appending this to the can say the function name, just to like keep it unique. Like we'll be able to filter it out properly under our dashboard. So we have the function name over here, and like we are just you can say pointing that to inside the handler. We'll just go ahead and quickly change the handler soon. So under this, we have the events, and like for the HTTP path, we'll be changing this path to the AWS using NSK post to do, and like we'll be changing the method to post, as we'll be inserting that to. Now let's go inside our handler.js, and like I'll just quickly copy a few things for post to do. Okay, now we have a few things over here. So we have the UUID that we'll be using to create a, you can say, a unique ID. We have the AWS SDK, and from that SDK we'll be using the DynamoDB, you can say the document client. So we'll be using this to do CRUD operations on you can say specifically for DynamoDB and database. And then I'm doing copy pasting because like we have to, like I've already prepared this everything, like we have to minimize the errors and like human errors and everything. So like it will be better to just quickly copy paste that. I will go ahead and quickly explain each and every line to you, so no worries about that. Okay, so we have the main logic, like the entrance logic over here. So firstly we will be writing all of our handlers over here. Okay, and then at the bottom we'll be having services. Okay. Now we have, just quickly copy the services and paste it under here. So what do we have now? Yeah, under the services, the YAML file, we have to create a more extra resource actually. Like this will be pointing towards this will go ahead and create a Dynamo database, like the table and everything, and like it will also have the authorization and everything under that resources tab. So I'll just quickly paste it and like quickly explain it to you what it contains. So under resources tab, we have each and every single resource will be listed under this. So consider you have to like create an S3 bucket, or you can say any other type of resource that you have to create, or like attach it to your you can see your application. So you will be doing this under your resources. So what we have done here is like under resources, we are giving a label to your table, and then I have given it as AWS UG Todos Dynamo DB table, and like under that we have the type of you can say table. So what type of, you can say a resource is that? So that will be AWS : Dynamo DB. So this is the particular service, and like under that we have the particular table for that. Okay. And then deletion policy, this actually depicts like what will be the like consider you are doing SLS remove now. So if we run SLS remove, it will remove all the we can say the Lambda functions and like the API gateways from this. But if you want to exclude that removal, when we delete our stack or everything, so the dependency, if you have to exclude this one, so we just write a deletion policy as written, so this won't get deleted even if I run the after deployment. Even if I go ahead and run SLS remove, so it will won't remove this particular DynamoDB table. And then we have a few, we can say, partition key related configurations over here. So under attribute definitions, we have the key that we have to, you can say, add to our to have it as a either a partition key or a sort key. So we are only going to use the partition key. So the partition key, the main thing for the partition key is it will be grouping our data based on the partition key. So consider you have multiple, we can say, a bunch of data, and under that you have to group them in somehow. So you have to just go ahead and take out the unique field from them and group them with respect to that. So but as under this you can say the to do app that we have, so we'll be having only just one, we can say, single to single association kind of thing. So we won't be having any type of you can say filtering or anything. So I'll just be using the partitions key, and we'll be creating this one with the help of UUID package that we have over here. So the first thing is adding the attribute name. So this will be like a dynamic whatever you have to add. So consider you have your partition key as email or something like that. So you'll just be adding the email name over here. So I'll be inserting ID as an, you can say, key and value pair. So I'm adding directly the key of that you can say ID, like the attribute type. So this will be S is for like a string. So there are three types of we can say um, uh, data type that we can have under here. So one is string, so another one is n, so that is number, and then the last one is binary. So we have these three, you can say, data types that we can use under that. And for schema, this is the key schema. So this defines our partition key actually. And then as we have added, so we have already defined that key, what we have, like what we'll be using that ID for. So we have the definition of that key over here, but what will be the partition key under that. So we will be using the ID as the partition key, and what defines what is partition key or what is sort key. So this is the key type thing. So if we use hash, that will be hash will be partition key. And if we go ahead and add range under this, if we have the range under this, it will be used as a sort key. Sort is the as I've already explained the we can say use case of the partition key. We'll be grouping that data with respect to this, and scanning our documents with respect to this only. And with respect to the sort key, why do we use that? So consider we have to reorder our we can say elements or something like that. So we'll be using that with respect to we'll be using sort key for that. So that will contain the indexing everything for our, you can say, our data that we have stored it inside the Dynamo database. Under that under that we have the provision throughput. So this will contain the read and write unit capacity. So this defines the unit, you can say, read and write capacity. So for per second we'll be having one we can say read unit capacity, or we'll be able to read the data of one, we can say, one request per second. You can easily say that. So we have the last one we have is the table name. And under that we have defined the table name as, so self means the serverless YAML that we have. So that will be the self you can say self referential variable that we can use. So consider you have a defined variable under your own YAML, so you'll be using self. This also you can also use self only when we have multiple, you can say, YAML files that we have will be including in our you can say this major YAML file. So you can use self over there as well. So under that self, we have the provider. So self provider. So we have self and the self referential variable, then provider, then the environment we have. So under that we have the environment. So yeah, fine. We forgot to add the environment. I'll just quickly copy that and add it under here. Okay. I'll just quickly explain this to you all, everything. So we have the provider, we were under provider, then environment, we have the environment over here, and then the to-do table. So this is the variable that we have defined it under you can say environment, and like we are using that, we have assigned that value with this we can say name. So we have self service, so self and service, so to do app, and then hyphen. Then we have the self dot provider dot stage. So self dot provider dot stage. So our table name that will be created, that will be to do hyphen dev. And then we have the IAM roles defined over here. So like what type of permissions that you have to give to a particular service and everything. So you'll be writing this under IAM role statements. So first one is the effect. So what you want to do. So effect will be allow, deny, or whatever you have to give the permission to that particular you can say the particular resource. And then we have the action under this. So under this we have each and every service, and like under that service we have single um, we can say actions. So consider for like DynamoDB, we have the query action, we have the scan action. So to scan through all the elements that you have stored. So consider for get item. So this will be giving us a particular item. If we pass it to if we pass the particular ID, the partition key to it, and like it will be returning us the particular you can say that the data under stored under that particular partition. So we have all the we can say actions are defined it under over here, IAM statements, and for what we can say, if for what resource this should apply. So we have added a resource and a wildcard operator. So that will be having this you can say these IAM role statements will be applied for all the resources that we have defined under over here. So that's it for the majorly for the YAML file. Now we'll just go inside our handler.to, and we'll be explaining like what I have done over here. Now once like the we hit the API gateway, our handle goes to this particular method, as we have already defined it under over here. So handler dot AWS UG post to do. So we have handler, and then under that AWS UG post to do. So we have these parameters that were previously explained. So what we'll be doing is, as I've already told you over here, we will be getting our body, whatever the to do that we'll be posting. So we'll be getting it under the body. So what we are doing here is, we'll be JSON we'll be parsing it the as this we can say this body is stringified, and then passed on to the from the API gateway. So we need to do JSON pass under here, and that will be giving us a proper you can say JSON object under this you can say request data. So we have just added a minor validations under this. So we are just checking everything, if the title and everything is properly added under here, we'll be giving, if it is not, we'll be just giving the user a proper error, graceful error message, the given, you can say the to do is empty, or the data is empty under that. So this is just a validation check. So, and callback. So we are using callback over here to you can say send the response back to the invoker. And then we have created a small model over here. So we have the ID that is using the UUID package, and that is using the version 4 of that, and it will be creating a new hash for us, and we'll be using that ID. And for title, we are using the request data title. So under that request data, we will be having a title can say key and value pair. So we are using that title over here, the value of that title, and then we are making it as like is completed will be marked currently as false only. Then we are calling a insert to do method. So we have written this as a service under here. Okay, so we are calling that method from here, and like we have just added as this method returns a promise, so we are just doing then and like catch if there is any type of you can say error, and like we are handling that with respect to that only. Like if the you can say insertion is successful, we will just pass on the callback to the invoker, like the to has been properly inserted, and the candidate key that the insert, like the partition key, like the key that it has used to insert that to do, so it is this one. And then under the catch method, we are just returning the we can say unable to insert that to do. So that's the type of error that we have. So under services, actually this is the above, this was the we can say mediator between the uh, our actual service that is contacting the Dynamo database to put a particular object, and the API gateway. So we have this, we will be writing mostly you can say validations and everything under this method, and we'll be calling the actual service method under that. So I'll just quickly jump to that method. And as you are able to see, so this insert to do, it is a type of first thing, as we are returning a promise over from here. And then we have the parameter like the to pass to it, and like we are just creating a type of parameter to insert it inside the you can say the Dynamo database. So first we have to locate the table name that we have to can say insert, and this will be available at the runtime only. So this to do table will be available at the runtime only. We have already defined it under our serverless.yaml file, so like we don't have to explicitly mention it. So these one thing I wanted to mention. So under environment, everything that you will be adding, so this will be your custom variable name. So like you will just be able to use that with the help of process.env dot the variable name. So that will be like you will be able to have this. So you can maybe manage your secrets and everything with respect to this only. And then we have the item key, and under that we have our to do that we have already prepared above over here. Okay, so once we have done this configuration, I'll just quickly rename it to params actually. So just yeah, now these params are like passed on to the Dynamo database, like the object that we have already created above. So this is the object, and then we have the put method inside that. So this will be putting a particular item in this table, and like we are writing this has a, you can say, top level promises, it automatically returns a promise, and like you don't have to like manually add your own, you can say, promises or awaits and async and await. So this will directly return a promise from here, and once it is inserted, it will be returned under again over here only. So we'll just do one thing now. We'll go ahead and do SLS deploy. So that will deploy all of the resources that we have defined under here, all the API we have like added over here, and like the updated our we can say the handler method. Okay, now I'll just quickly run it. Our endpoint is ready. I'll just quickly go through those particular services and like quickly show you how they have been created. Under this, we have the tables tab, and like if you are able to see, we have the Dynamo database properly created. You can say the table that has been created, and then under API gateway, I'll just quickly refresh this. So we have the dev.todo. The API gateway that we have prepared under this, and now under we'll be able to see all the APIs that we'll be defining. So currently we have only the post I can say method, so that will be listed under this. And under stages, actually you'll be able to see all the APIs that we have. So this was the previously created one. So we have we haven't removed that, we did not run SLS remove, so it did not remove that the single we can say API. And then we have post our post API endpoint. So we'll be using this one to insert a type of insert a to do now. So I'll just go ahead and select post, and then we will create a body under this with JSON format. We'll bring that here. So we just have to send the title of that to do that we'll be inserting. So we have consider task one maybe, and yeah, sorry, I had to quickly show you the functions that we have fed. So I refresh this, and if you are able to see, we have the post to do function that has been created under this. Now I'll just quickly go ahead and send the request. This should insert the required to do inside our table. So if you are able to see, it returned a proper message, and we will just quickly see under tables. We will go under view items, and we will be seeing we'll just run this query, and if you are able to see, we have the can say a to do inserted with task title one, the completed, as we have already set it default to false, so it has directly inserted this as false. Now we'll just quickly insert a few more to do, so that will be required in further APIs. Okay, so we have inserted a 3 to, so they should have listed over here. Okay, fine. So we have our post the post method is ready. We will be creating now get all to dos, it will be fetching all the to dos that we have. So we will just quickly add a function under this, so that will be get to dos. As there are multiple to dos, then the handler will be handler, and then get to dos, and then the events. We'll just quickly copy this and paste it under here. So HTTP, this will remain as it is. I'll just quickly rename the path, and it will be get verb. Now you just have to add the as the resources the functions has been done, and we have already attached our API gateway to that particular function. We'll be adding a handler method for the same. So let me quickly just copy paste a few things. Then we will be having all of our to-dos in place. So we have the get AWS UG NSK get to-dos handler method, and under that what we are doing is calling the fetch to-dos method. So this will be our service method. Just quickly go ahead and copy that too and paste it under our services. Okay, so what we are doing over here now under get to dos, it is same as can say the handler method that we have previously defined. So it will be modules and exports. So we are exporting that method from here, and we have the get to dos. These parameters the event and everything won't be useful, as we are putting all the to dos that are listed under our table, and we'll be just using the callback to return the response for that particular to do, all the to dos that we have stored. So we are calling the fetch to do. So we'll quickly jump on the definition of it, the definition of that only, and then we have I defined it as an async, as we are doing a few things putting all the to dos and preparing all the you can say the list of to dos, the array of those to dos, and we are returning those. So we need to have it over there, and we have the params. So what type of table name that we will be using? So the as previously done, we will be using the process.env.table name. So the table name that we have, so that will be the to do app hyphen dev. And then we have just declared two variables over here. So we have the arrays of all the to dos. So we'll be pushing all the to dos under this only. And then we have a do while we can say loop. So what we are doing here is we are calling the DynamoDB.scan. So this returns a we can say a promise like we will be what we'll be doing is iterating over through all the objects that we have listed. So like all the items that we have over here. So if you're able to see, we have these three items so listed over here. So it will be iterating over these three of them, and like will be creating this array with respect to like that only. So if you're able to see, we are doing like assigning this to do as a like a promise to that. So it will be like to do's dot items. So this is like the returned list for all the items that we have inside our DynamoDB database, DynamoDB table. And then for each, like we are iterating over it, and like for each to do's, we'll be pushing that each and every to do inside our all to do's array. So consider this as a this as a type of pointer that will be having, and like this returns to this to do's variable. And like if you're able to see here, we have the panels dot exclusive start key. So this is like a as already mentioned, this is like a pointer to that. So we'll be updating this exclusive start key every time, and like it will be for each iteration, it will be our new, you can say, key. So first iteration, it will like pull up this one. Then it will like we are updating that exclusive start key to this, and like it will be returning that single item to can say this to do, and like we'll be pushing that under this only. Okay, and now we will be we can say we have like a pausing condition over here. So we are checking if the last evaluated key is undefined. So as we are iterating over it and like continuously like updating that particular key, so this to do really like continuously updating. So we'll be perform these operations until this last evaluated key is undefined. So like it does not get any more objects other than these. Okay, and like at the end, we are just returning all the to do's that we have prepared, and like this will be returned to again this, and like under then we are like just preparing our response. So we have the stated core set, and like the body is set to like the response that you are getting from below, and like we have just added a like a catch block to handle any type of errors that will be getting. So I'll just quickly go ahead and deploy this one as well. So it will create a new method for us, and like the new endpoint as well. So I'm running SLS deploy now. Okay, so if we are able to see, we have the endpoint and the function like have been created over here. So we'll just quickly go through the console once. Under our fridge. So we have our to do app, and then if you're able to see, we have the get method over here, and under stages. So we'll be able to see our get to dos, and like these two we can say endpoints. So we will now go ahead and can say hit this particular URL that should fetch all of the to dos that we have stored. So there are 3 to dos right now, so it should pull in all the to dos that we have. So if you're able to see, we have the 3 to dos that we have inserted. So it has written all the to dos that we have currently in the database. Now that's it for I can say getting all the to dos. So we will be now writing a method to we can say get a single to do. So I'll just again go inside, like everything like remains the same. Just have to add a new method under this with respect to the handler and everything, and like go ahead and add your handler under you can say our handlers, and like just add the service layer that we'll be using. So I'll just go ahead and add the uh, update the serverless.yaml file with our this one. So this will get a particular to do for us, like this yeah, one thing to explain here is like as you know, like we'll be passing a particular URL parameter can say through the URL to get that particular to do. So that will be our ID actually, and like with respect to this ID, like whatever ID that we pass, that will be that to do will be returned to us. So to define it under our serverless.yaml file, like we have a URL parameter under this, so we define it as this. So like the you can say the API name slash and the dynamic parameter that you have to like pass on. and like the HTTP method, and like that will remain just the same. And like just to mention here, so we have get to do, so this returns multiple ones that we have just written, and like this one this will just return a single to do from the DynamoDB table. So I'll just quickly copy paste the getting a single to do handler. Okay, and I'll just copy this service as well, paste it over here. So we'll go through the AWS Region Ashik, like getting a single to do. So under this, like we will be using the event now, as we have to get the particular parameter from the event, and then like that particular ID. So we are getting it with respect to this. So we have path parameters, and like all the you can say the get parameters that will be passing through the URL. So that will be available under our path parameters. And like it will directly have the you can say labeled it as an ID, as we have already mentioned it over here. It has an ID. So consider if you have an email maybe, so you'll just replace this with the email over here. Okay, so just quickly revert that. Then we will go like we have to get it to do. So we'll just go pass on the ID that will we have passed from the client app, and like we'll just quickly go through the service layer of this get to do. So if we are able to see, we have the I can say the parameter passed over here, and like we are like preparing the parents over here. So what we have is the table name, as usual, the table name, and like under that we have the key now. So what is the key, like what we have to like get. So under that key we have the ID, and like as to do. So as already mentioned, we have defined this like ID as the uh, where is it, yeah, the attribute name, like under this. So we'll be using this key and then ID, then the actual ID that we will be passing, that the to-do ID that we have from over here. So this is the particular ID. So we'll be using like, this one to get that, and then we will just use dynamodb.get.params. So get to get a single item, and then like the promises, like will be writing a promise from there, and then we will go inside like then, and then like as usual we'll be returning that response, and like from for the error handling we have added the catch block over here. So I'll just quickly go and deploy this as well. Like this will create a get to do, like a single to get a single to do, like it will create that endpoint and function. Okay, so our functions are deployed. Again, we have the single get to do API over here. I'll just quickly copy that endpoint and then paste it under our postpoint tool. And we have to add the ID over here. So I'll just quickly go and fetch all the to-dos and copy the ID for task 2. It should return our the can say the single to do for us, like that is the task 2. So if you're able to see, we have the single to do, and like under that we have the item, and like under that we have the like that particular to do that has been written. So the title and the is completed is available now. Now we have completed like the get and post you can say endpoints. Now we will be doing the only two things are remaining is uh, like delivering that particular to do, and then operating it any particular to do. So we'll be doing that quickly. Now I'll just go ahead and add few things for that as well. So just go ahead and replace AWS direct to do with this direct to do, and we'll be keeping this, let's say, ID as it is, as we have to like pass the ID for like the what to do that we have to delete. So I'll just quickly change the HTTP verb to delete itself, and we have prepared our can say serverless.yaml file. I'll just add the required handlers under this. Now go ahead and copy the delete function have it under here, and then this service will be this one. So now we will go through the delete method. As we were doing previously, we are getting the particular ID from the path parameters only, and we are sending it to our delete to do service. So under that, we have the path, we can say parameters as usual. And what we'll be doing, the only difference between getting a single to do and like deleting is just will be like replacing this get with delete, and that will go ahead and delete the to do that, like we have mentioned it as an ID over here. So, and like we are just as always we are returning the promise of that delete, and like it will and then we have the then and catch blocks under this. So I'll just quickly go ahead and deploy it again. So the delete lambda function will be up and running, and we'll just go ahead and test it once again. So we have the delete method, it has been deployed. We'll just go ahead the endpoint of that. Will actually show you the API gateway as well. It has updated and created multiple, can say, endpoints. So the get to do, so the delete verb is used for like deleting the to do and like get, and like we previously had these two API endpoints. And with respect to functions, actually we have it under here. Just to go ahead and refresh it, and AWS UGMSK. Okay. So if you're able to see, we have the post to do over here. Then just need to correct this. So we have four of our methods over here. So the first one is post, the get ones that we have already prepared, and like the delete one that we have just made up and running. So we will go to that particular endpoint. Copy that URL, paste it over here, and like we will be deleting the same to do that we previously fetched. So I'll just quickly send it. This should delete that to do. Okay. What we are missing? Oh, sorry, my bad. To switch is to delete, and then just when we send it, so it will like go ahead and directly send us the record message that it has been successfully deleted. I just send the get all to dos. If you're able to see, we have the the task 2 has been deleted. We have only listed the task 3 and task 1 now. And now, as we have seen the delete method, now I'll just be adding the a few changes for the update method. So this will particularly update a single to do. We have the I can say lambda function over here. Then we have the handler passed on like this. It is same as as previously that we were doing. And then under the events we have our HTTP, like as usual. This will be used to create the API gateway, and then like the endpoint for this, and then we have the path same as our lambda method, and like the only change is like we have switched to put HTTP method. That's it. And then under the handler, actually we have defined. Okay, one sec. So we will be using this update method. It will be almost as can say similar as the post method. The only difference I will be having is we have to like I will be getting ID as well as the is completed can say data as well while we are updating a particular tool. So like we have to update that is completed fee as well, right? So we'll be like having that as well. So we have the we can say json.parse as usual that we did for post to do. Then we have like the conditions added. So we'll be checking if like what all you can say we have just validated a few things. So like these are like very basic validations. We'll need to add proper validations as well, and then just pass on these properly, like in your required it can say lambda functions. And then we have the update to do we can say function. This will be our service layer. So I'll just quickly this here. We have our service ready. So we have our update to do service method over here. So what we are doing is passing the to do that we have to update, and the ID will be remaining the same over here. We are just updating the we can see the title and its completed field. So this is a we can say a custom syntax to update any particular fields that you have to do inside the DynamoDB table. So we have the update expression. What you have to do is just add set before the we can say each and every variable or each and every key that you have inside your you can say table. And then under the set we have title. So title will be these are like this will be data binded at the runtime when this query will be run, like to update that particular field. So we are like adding title equal to, and like colon title val will be this. So we have that colon title val listed over this as a key over here, and like it is listed under expression attribute value. So this is just the update expression that it will be running, and it will iterating over the we can say expression attribute values. And this might as we have only one to do to update, we have just passed it as a object. You can even pass it is an array, and like update, like you can do bulk updates as well. So that will just iterate over the you can say that array, and like update that these particular values that whatever we have set inside your update expression. So we'll do same thing for these completed one, and like add the determined variable for this over here, and like that the same key will be used over here. And like we for the actual values we are using the to do parameters that we have sent. So that will be the title, and like is completed one. And like everything will like the return statement is will be remaining the same. The only thing that will be changing is will be switching to update. And then we are returning that from over here, and like we'll be passing it to our can say our like and like as we have previously done. So we are just doing then like sending the proper response, and like doing catch over here to send the required you can say errors and everything to the invoker. Now we will just do one thing, go ahead and deploy the app. So that will create the lambda. And okay, so the update method has been added to our stack. So we'll just go ahead in the dashboard and like refresh once. If you are able to see, we have the update method over here. Then under our resources also, so it should be listed APIs to do. Have listed the put method under this. So we will just go ahead and hit that endpoint, and see how it updates our single. Just copy this. Paste. We'll be adding a ID, and we have is completed field. So we'll just maybe set it to true for task 3. So we'll first get all the to dos first, and copy this ID from here, paste it here, then updated task, set it to 3 maybe, and then send the request. So you're able to see that like the particular to do has been updated properly. And once we try to get it, we are able to see like these completed has been set to true, and like the title also has been updated. So like all the can say the endpoints and everything we have properly can say configured and cleared. Like all the APIs are whatever the motto of our session was. Like all the APIs are up and running now. But as you're able to see, like yeah, we have everything under this we can say single file. And like of course, like your production grade application should not be should absolutely not be like added everything in you should not be having everything under one file only. So I have a close to ideal I can say a example for you. So I'll just quickly show it to you. Have it on my GitHub account. Actually, you will be able to like get this URL and everything on the you can say stream. So stay put for that. Then we like we'll just quickly go through the serverless.yaml file that what I have made the changes over here. So let's open that, and then if you are able to see everything remains the same, but only thing that we are changing is like the functions tab. So previously we were having a handler, we can say a handle method for each and every endpoint, a different handler for each and every endpoint, but I have added a single handle method to handle each and every request, and like from that handle method it will be redirecting it to the respective business logic we can say that we have written for each and every method. So consider for port to do we have written the post to do function, so that will be redirecting it to that appropriate method. So if you're able to see, like we have the handler method over here, and like all the events and like API endpoints will be they will remain the same. We have these five methods that we have just prepared in the session. So everything is like the that only. Then the second thing is like handler.js. So currently we have this handler.js like this. Now if you're able to see, we have like only added the can say redirection logic under this, and what we are doing is created each and every single API an API folder, and under that we have a single JS file that we can say handles the uh, request as per the method that we are adding. So consider we have the post method, so that will be all the methods that will be related to post will be put inside the post dot you can say post.js. We have the get method, so if you're able to see, we have two get methods, so that will be listed under the get.js in that way. And we have added a switch can say switch case here with respect to event.http method. So what is the http method that we have written we are querying. So as we are sending the get method over, so we will be getting I can say get http method, and like a put and post and and so on. So we have if you're able to see, we have two get methods. So under that we have the first one is like a get multiple to dos and get to do. So we have just added a resource check over here, and then we are going to redirect that particular method to with respect to this. So if we like query the get to dos I can say resource, the endpoint that we have under here. So if we send it to the get to dos endpoint over here, so it will be redirected to the get to dos handler. And then we'll just go inside now the API folder. So as previously explained, we have the four folders over here. So get, post, delete, and put based on the HTTP verbs. So under each and every file, we have listed the respective can say files sorry, the methods that will be handling our we can say the logic to each and every endpoint. Now we have just mostly just copy pasted it and refactored it, and I've set it under these required files. So we have these four files over here, and under that each and every file we are have added a service we can say service.js file, and under that service.js file we have all the service layer methods that will be connecting to the DynamoDB database. So and it is talking to the client object of the same. So we have the insert to do method over here. So whatever we have written under these services I can say lines. So these all are just copy pasted over these service.js file. So we have just listed all the to dos. Sorry, listed all the methods that we have just prepared, and just copy pasted it over here. And the last one we have prepared it as an utils. So we have prepared sender you can say method and a send result method. So as you are able to see, we were continuously having a huge chunk of code just to return a we can say just to return the response to the user. So we have just passed it on to the to a single particular method, and have just add it over here. You can even do one thing just have a send a response maybe a method, and just add this status code in a dynamic way as well. So you can do that too. So yeah, being said that we are done with our session actually, and if there are any questions, concerns, or anything, so please let us know under our under your live chat. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So yeah, that's it actually from my end. So the project, you can say, URL will be listed under my account. So you have the URL under this PPT as well, and we will be updating the PPT and the document that I have used side by side to, we can say, give this session. So that will be also available on our AWS UG group site under the storage section. So yeah, that's it from my end actually. So Abhishek, you can.
It was a very nice session, and I hope the audience would also love it. The all the resource files, the code base, and the session PPTs will be listed in the chat, as well as AWS UG Nashik website, and you can fetch the resources from there. Apart from that, if you have any questions, any doubts regarding the tech stack, or in general with the stack we have used in the session, you can directly comment on the video, or you can reach out to us. All the social handles are linked into our website. You can check the website. Apart from that, still if you feel you need to get some doubts cleared personally with the speaker, we can do that as well. So yeah, with that, we will end our today's session. But before proceeding, I'll just make one announcement that there is AWS Community Day South Asia coming up on next Saturday, which is 22nd of October and 23rd of October. On 22nd, there are all the sessions lined up by industry experts. There are keynotes from AWS UG leaders and AWS leaders overall. Apart from that, on 23rd of October, there are workshops based on AWS certifications, serverless. Then there is a jam session in which you can solve the real world problems with your team, and get some amazing goodies and perks there as well. So that being said, we'll thank our speaker. So thank you so much, yes, for your time, and that was a very nice session. And we'll see you soon in the next session, which is part 2 of the ongoing series. And to our audience, I want to say that there are some amazing perks and giveaways coming from JetBrains as well as AWS credits. So we'll be having one giveaway as well in the next session, at the end of the next session. So don't forget to join in the next session, which is 1 week after the next. So we'll see you there. So with that, we'll end our today's session, and have a great weekend. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you all. Bye.